Whatever you do, make sure you visit AshKickin.com for your home fragrance, health, and beauty needs. Quality products at a great price.
This is Bobby, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Boy, I tell you, man, when I say it's going down, it's going down. I mean, I'm just almost lost for words with the type of fights I see brewing right now. Shouts out to Lomachenko and Mikey Garcia. Because you know what's so funny? Before I even get into the news, well, first of all, let me just give you a taste of the news. Apparently, Vasyl Lomachenko and Mikey Garcia, they want each other. Vasyl Lomachenko, he called out Mikey Garcia, and Mikey Garcia has accepted the challenge at 135. Now, before I elaborate on all of that, let me just say this. You know, it's really a shame when you see fighters like Andre Ward and Kovalev willing to put everything on the line. Fighters like Lomachenko, Mikey Garcia, willing to fight any and everyone at the drop of a hat. Fighters like Jesse Vargas, regardless of how great you think he is, you have to give that man props. He's always willing to fight the best. Fighters like Jamal Charlo, Julian Williams, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, Guillermo Rigo, Gary Russell Jr. And while all these fighters are always willing to fight the best, they're not getting the same type of reception as fighters like Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez. It's a damn shame when you really think about it. Because if these fighters were getting credit based on competition and based on them defeating and fighting the best, then that would mean this sport would be structured like other sports. The football team that gets the most credit and the most praise is the football team that wins the Super Bowl. Now, don't get me wrong, of course, everyone has their favorite football team, but overall, the team that gets the most credit and the most praise is that team that wins the Super Bowl, right? Now, fighters like Lomachenko and Mikey Garcia, they may not be getting treated like fighters on the coincidental list, but they should still be getting more credit and praise than fighters like a Canelo Alvarez. Because this is the point that I'm making. When it comes to a fighter like Gennady Golovkin is a very good fighter. He's a very good middleweight fighter, right? Has a lot of power, but at the same time, we don't even know if Golovkin could have beat a Nicholas Walters in the exact same weight with the exact same type of power that Golovkin carries. We don't know if he could have beat a Nicholas Walters. We don't really know if Golovkin could have beat a Gary Russell Jr. Same thing goes for Canelo Alvarez. These are things that we really don't know, right? We don't know if, for example, if Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko face off in a couple of fights down the line, we don't know how a Canelo or Gennady Golovkin would fare against either one of these guys. Now, do we? Now, I'm sure a lot of us have an idea, but I'm just saying we don't know because Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez, fighters like that, they haven't faced competition like that. Now, credit to Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin is on the verge to stepping up in competition. Hopefully, I'm not giving him credit too soon because I'm hoping and I believe that now that he's negotiating with Canelo Alvarez, maybe it's just wishful thinking, but if we listen to Tom Loeffler, Golovkin's promoter, that opens up doors, or well, at least the way Tom Loeffler put it, Golovkin fighting Danny Jacobs, that opens up doors to Golovkin facing better competition. Because Tom Loeffler even said it himself. He says a lot of people believe now that Golovkin is older, he's slow, he's slowing down basically. Now that opens up doors to better competition. But we already know that there has always been good competition that has been willing to get in the ring with Gennady Golovkin. With that all being said, hopefully Golovkin is going to step up and we're going to see him after Canelo. We're going to see him maybe in the Jacobs rematches. Maybe he moves up to 168. We see the Gilberto Ramirez's fights, the James DeGale fights, the Andre Ward fights, etc., etc., etc. So let's get into this Mikey Garcia versus Lomachenko beef. Basically, you know, I got to give credit once again to Lomachenko, man. This man, he beat Nicholas Walters, he beat Gary Russell Jr., and he continues to call out the best competition. He's been moving up in weight, something that some fighters are afraid to do, and he's looking just as good in the newer weights. Now, it's yet to be seen if he'll look as good when he moves up another weight class to 135, but basically Vasyl Lomachenko, he called out Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia said in response, you know, you struggled or you lost to Salido, and I dominated Salido. Now, when Lomachenko heard Mikey say this is when Lomachenko, he really let loose. Lomachenko basically said, the only reason you beat Salido is because you broke your nose and the fight was stopped. He said that Orlando Salido was basically closing a gap and he was about to destroy Mikey Garcia. Then he said, okay, if you want to compare fights, let's look at how I did against Rocky Martinez and how you did against him. He said, while Rocky Martinez knocked down Mikey Garcia in the 5th round, I knocked him out in the 5th round. He said something like that, but I'm paraphrasing. This is pretty much what Lomachenko said. Then he said, after a couple of fights, I'll come up to 135 and fight you, and then we'll see who the best is. Mikey Garcia said in response, if you come up to 135, I will wait for you at 135 because that would be a terrific fight that all the fans would love to see. This is pretty much how the conversation transpired. So all I have to say is this is going to be a hell of a fight if it ever takes place, and I believe that it will. Vasyl Lomachenko is not someone that bluffs. Vasyl is really on a mission to prove that he is pound for pound one of the top 3 best fighters in the world. And I'll tell you right now, if he were to move up to 135 and beat Mikey Garcia, that would be a hell of a statement. That would be a hell of a statement. That would mean that he already beat, I'm just saying, you know, if he does beat Mikey Garcia, to say that you beat Gary Russell Jr., Nicholas Walters, and then Mikey Garcia, that would be huge. That would be huge. Okay? But yet at the same time, Mikey Garcia is not going to be easy to beat. And if Mikey Garcia dominates Vasyl Lomachenko, that also says a whole lot about Mikey Garcia as well, obviously. These are pound for pound type fights right here. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. I guess, unfortunately, with Lomachenko, you know, focused so much on Mikey Garcia, we may never get to see that Lomachenko versus Gary Russell rematch. And that's unfortunate because I really feel that a rematch with Lomachenko and Gary Russell Jr. will be a lot different. Although Gary Russell has been hell-bent on getting a rematch with Lomachenko, he said he's willing to move up to whatever division Lomachenko moves up to. So it's funny when you think about it because it's like you have Gary Russell chasing a Lomachenko rematch, and now you have Lomachenko chasing a Mikey Garcia fight. Gary Russell wants to unify the belts at 126 before he moves up, but we know damn well Carl Frampton and Leo Santa Cruz, they really have no interest in facing Gary Russell Jr. Oscar Valdez, I believe he may fight Gary Russell, but that's probably about the only fighter who will. Maybe Abner Mares will as well. We have to see. We just have to see. But there are some really, really good fights brewing right now. And I look forward to seeing the progression of Mikey Garcia and Vasyl Lomachenko. Hopefully, they meet up by next year. I know Lomachenko, he wants to unify the belts, and then he'll probably move up to 135. And with that all being said, don't forget to tune in to this Sunday's live DBN radio show. You guys can call in. We're going to be talking about all of these topics. On top of that, we're going to have special guests, the undefeated super middleweight, Kevin Newman. He's going to be in the building, in the studio, talking boxing with us. So it should be a really good show. We'll see you guys on Sunday. The show starts 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Hi, you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.